Now this is a Steam Deck. I don't have one. But this is the ROG Ally. And obviously, I've got one. But honestly, is this thing any good? And how does it hold up against the Steam Deck? We'll watch the video. We're gonna talk about that. So I picked this thing up a few weeks ago for about 700 MSRP. And with the Steam Deck's lowest price being around $400, this thing is definitely a little bit pricey. And first off, I love this thing. I've spent more time with it than I probably need to. So let's go ahead and talk about the gaming performance, because that's what everyone's going to be really wanting to know. Well, obviously, it's not a Steam Deck, so there's no Steam OS. This thing is running full-blown Windows 11, and that is sick. And other than full basic Windows 11, it is running its own custom launcher called Create SE, but even if you don't want to use that, you don't actually have to use it. And as a plus, Steam's Big Picture mode loads natively when launching Steam. The only problem I got was I didn't want to get a Steam Deck because I like Game Pass. Game Pass is cool to me. I like using it. I like playing those games. I like having that subscription. But without some workarounds, it just didn't work very well on the Steam Deck, so I haven't been able to really push myself to get a Steam Deck. But this thing came with 3 months free of Game Pass Ultimate. But I did run into some issues trying to launch those games. First issue I had was I couldn't get the thing to be in English. I got stuck in Spanish mode for no reason. All it did was constantly play in Spanish for no reason. God, I love the way this thing looks. The second issue I kept having is every time I try to launch a game from the Game Pass, it would just crash. I would uninstall, I'd reinstall, it would just crash every time. No fixing it. I don't know what the problem was. I mean, I know what the problem is now that I fixed it. So after a bunch of research, I found out that for some reason, even being connected to the internet, it wouldn't change its date and time to be like, you know, the current date and time. So after I changed the time and date to be, you know, the actual time and date, games launch with no problem. And playing them, oh my god, it was awesome. I mean, here I am playing Dark Souls 3 at about 60 FPS on a handheld. This is insane. Now, don't get me wrong, there was some issues. I mean, yes, it's in handheld, and yes, it's playing Dark Souls 3 at 720p. And again, this is $300 more than the Steam Deck. So I'm not really wanting to play in 720p. This thing runs natively in 1080p. So I had to set the game, you know, really low, and it kind of struggled with Dark Souls 3, but I've heard people playing Elden Ring on this thing. So now this thing has 3 modes pretty much. So it's got silence, performance, and turbo mode. And in my personal experience, playing like 2D games or indie games, stuff like that, works great in silent mode. And then esports titles like Fortnite or CSGO and stuff like that. Can you play CSGO on controller? Okay, that game doesn't support controller, but like games like Rocket League or other stuff like that would run great in performance mode. And even more AAA titles can and will run on turbo mode. I mean, I was able to play, you know, Hogwarts Legacy just fine. Liza P just fine. Just don't be expecting to play in turbo mode too long. This thing eats through battery life. So I've been spending quite a few hours with this thing, and I'm not, you know, usually a tech YouTube review guy, you know. I've done Quest stuff and VR stuff, but, you know, handheld gaming PCs ain't really my forte to talk about. But I'm not really sure what else to say about or in this video or about the thing, and I'm not really sure why I made this video. But I do really love this thing. So I guess, you know, if you can find one, I would buy it. Buy this thing. It's awesome. This video's over now.